Hello viewers, we're coming to you live from our main studio in Bakau, the Gambia. This is N24 News and I am your presenter MADELINE. Coming up in the next minutes, Assembly summons Hamad Bar over corruption allegations at GT board. Gambia Tech launches food app naming it Chapsa. In sports, Gambia sits top on Africa's beach volleyball ranking. Nigeria crashed out of the AFCON after Tunisia's defeat. On the international front, gunshots are said to be heard in Burkina Faso on which arrests were made. These and more to feature in our today's bulletin. Stay tuned. And we start tonight's bulletin with the National Assembly Public Petition Committee has summoned Tourism Minister Hamad Bar to report today as part of their investigations into allegations of corruption at the Gambia Tourism Board. The National Assembly Committee launched an inquiry following a petition by staff accusing the minister, the former Director General and the Finance Director of various corrupt practices, including an award of contract for the constructions of 5 ecotourism lodges. Minister Bar is expected to appear before the committee chaired by Fonya Berfet Nam Sunkare Baji this morning. A former GTB Director General Abdullah Haidara is also expected to testify. The officials will be asked to explain themselves with regard to the corruption allegations made in the contract process, wrongful land allocations within the TDA and abuse of power, among others. The Gambia Tech Project on Saturday launched a food app called Chapsa, which is made by a Gambian. This innovation has seen large praises from the people. Our reporter Maimuna Diary tells us more in this report.
On Saturday, January 22nd, 2022, the Gambia Tech Project facilitates the launching of the Chapsa application. Omar Balde, the founder of Chapsa application, tells us the amazing features of the application and why he thinks it is needed in the Gambia.
So it's like the smart way to it. It's a food ordering and delivery application that's available free to download on both App Store and iOS. And then it has all the best restaurants, thousands of menu items. You can order from the convenience of your home. You can enjoy live tracking with the delivery guy. You know, it just enables businesses, especially those in the tourism sector, as well as other small businesses like grocery stores, to be able to serve digitally. All you need is just your phone to be able to order and interact with these platforms. Overdue in the Gambia because, first of all, we can just remember a few years, like a year or two ago, the pandemic struck. And then everything shut down. The restaurants shut down. Grocery stores shut down. Why? Because we didn't have a mechanism in place for these businesses to be able to operate. So everything was just locked down. And from then, we needed Chapsa. And from then, we started working on Chapsa. And not just that, but then the idea and the ability to be able to order food at the convenience of your phone is just amazing. Because globally, 42% of all food ordering is done on the phones, both food and groceries. And this trend is going to catch up to the Gambia because anything you're doing with your phone is just a lot easier. It's more efficient. And Chapsa has world-class features that average Gambian users can be able to use. It solves that problem. But also small businesses will be able to reach a higher target audience without needing tons of waitresses, without needing tons of warehouses. They could easily just publish the food and then items on the app, and people could easily just order from it and have it downloaded.
Tech being a struggling business in the Gambia, Omar Balde further tells us some of the challenges he faced while working on converting his idea into reality.
We had tons of hindrances. Firstly, because a lot of people were just not in for it. People used to complain like, the internet in the Gambia is good. And when I say people, I'm talking about close people that, you might want to lean on for support. And having all of those not believing in it was really tough. That's one of the first challenges we faced. Secondly, our partners in the restaurant and in the grocery industry, a lot of them saw the product because we are a tech startup. We're more invested in the technology. But then bringing the technology in place for these people, a lot of them still preferred like an old-fashioned way. A lot of them were still not open to that. So we had to run through a lot of challenges. We had to always iterate through our solution to be able to penetrate the market to the point that we are at right now.
Mr. Babakar Kohli, Project manager for the Gambia Tech Project tells us how he feels about Omar's work and his vision for tech in the country. Mr. Colifore tells us the challenges they are facing as a tech company and the possible ways to overcome those challenges.
Just proud seeing that Gambians and especially young Gambians are doing amazing stuffs in the country, and actually our doors are open to support anyone doing anything in innovation and anything in technology, particularly those people who want to venture into the tech industry as young people. Access to resources, especially technical resources to develop or to put in function certain aspect of the tech industry. Particularly when it comes to server management and server fundings, because most of the innovation or the products run on servers, and those servers needs like some spendings to be done to maintain them. And when it comes to the startups, they do not have most of the time much or enough to maintain those servers for a long period of time.
Alaji Jaju, Executive Director of National Youth Council, expresses his impression about the CHOPSA application and further stated the plans the National Youth Council for young people like Omar Balde.
So, for me, it's a great idea, and as a council, we really want to give it all our go, and we really want to work with him, and probably see in the area of marketing, something I brought to him, how can he really use our own platforms to be able to really market, the app further, so that every Gambian knows about the app, and within a year or even within a year or two, at least we're able to have, more than probably half of the Gambian population using the app. And even, the old woman at the market, who sits out there selling, is able to use the app and order for food, order for lunch at her convenience. Let it just not be for those of us who are literate, but even those not literate can easily use the app. And I think as we move on along the line, we should be able to put in these improvements, and every Gambian can happily use the app. But from our end as a council, we are happy that these things are stepping up, and it's coming from a young guy, and we will definitely give it all the support that it needs, to really move it, to the next level. We do not want a scenario where in 1 year down the line the app is no more, but we want to ensure 1 year down the line, if we started with 1,000, users 1 year down the line, we are talking about at least 100,000 users. That will be our pride, and as a council we will definitely work with him to ensure we're able to move with him to the next level. We can't innovate, but those that innovate, we want to work with them and see how we're able to move with them to the next level, to their benefit and of course by extension for every other Gambia.
Tech basically being the smart way of doing things by innovation, it has become a great factor in the development of many nations around the world. Reporting for N24, I am Maimuna Dari.
The Drug Law Enforcement Agency of the Gambia, the League, has announced the arrest of 3 Gambian nationals with prohibited drugs in the West Coast region. Abdou Jaju, a resident of Jifanga village, was arrested with 2 bundles of suspected cannabis, sativa, and 2 stones of suspected cannabis resin. He was apprehended around the Sibanor Health Center. Bakari Toure, 37, was arrested at Tanje with 45 parcels of suspected cannabis sativa and 64 pieces of suspected cannabis resin were seized from one Omar Fati on the same day at Tanje Nema. All 3 suspects are in custody as investigations continue, the League said in a statement. Politics, a male-dominated field in Africa, has seen some females lately becoming active in the field as women begin to take up some roles. We spoke to some people, and here is the report of Usaina Tusabali.
Politics, a male-dominant area in the Gambia, but recently seen women taking part in elections. Following the announcement of the Independent Electoral Commission (IEC) for the nomination of candidates scheduled from 5th to 13 May 2022, Honorable Fatmata Tumanjai, a National Assembly member for Banjul South on the PPP ticket, has confirmed her bid to run for a second term as an independent candidate. Amadou Ba is a final year law student at the University of the Gambia.
To history, women have not been taking part into elections. Most of the time, it's only this is an area that is dominated by men. So seeing women taking part in elections is very important, and I really appreciate that. And I implore on many women to actually join the journey of taking part in politics.
Do you think they can do it better than men?
I wouldn't say they can do better than men, but I would say they have the potential of doing it better than men. And in fact, yes, they can do it better than men because they are human beings and we are all not equal. There are men that can do things better than women, and there are also women that can do things better than men. So I believe as our laws provide for it, everybody has the equal chance to participate in politics. And yes, I believe they can do better than men if given the opportunity.
Ami Sohna, a first-year second semester law student at the University of the Gambia, said, with regards of executing responsibilities, one has to be committed. She also said it is quite important to examine them before they go to the parliament.
Executing your responsibilities, it has to go with you being committed, and we have seen some women being really committed to what they do. We have seen women that are really educated in the areas that they are. So if women are given the chance to actually take the drive, perhaps they could do better than the men that are there. So it's quite important if we take these women to the parliament to make sure we also examine them. It's a great idea for me.
Mariama S. Faraja at UTG said women has been in the sideline for so long when it comes to politics. Mariama said it is important to include women in decision making and for women empowerment.
Been in the sideline for a long time when it comes to politics. So I think this is a really great initiative for the country at large and for women empowerment. I think it's very important to include women in processes of decision making and things like that. So I think it's a great move and brilliant. Trying to take the society to higher heights, but not for them to be there to have a competition. So yeah, that's what I think. I think they can help the men in achieving what we all want to achieve, and that's a better Gambia.
In the Gambia, women represent more than half of the population. Women also comprise a majority of all registered voters. For N24 News, I am Usena Tusabali.
In sports. The Gambia male beach volleyball pair Seini Jao, Mbai Babu Jara and Amadou Jaju Jahara Koita picked up points to move top of the African beach volleyball ranking. Seini Jao, based in Qatar, and Mbai Babu Jara are ranked 74th in the world ranking with 870 points. Banking these points put the two on top of the African beach volleyball card. Amadou Jaju and Jahara Koita are ranked 127 with 520 points globally and sits second on the African ranking. The Gambia beach volleyball team are the champions of the African Games and bronze medalists of CAVB Continental Cup finals. Away from the Gambia volleyball to the AFCON in Cameroon, Tunisia upset 10-man Nigeria to set up a quarter-final tie against Burkina Faso at the Africa Cup of Nations. Nigeria's hope to see the Super Eagle in action in the World Cup, which they have to battle with Ghana to get a spot. More in this report.
Yusuf Magni beat Super Eagles keeper Maduka Okoye with a long-range effort 2 minutes into the second half. Nigeria's task was made harder when Alex Iwobi was sent off following a video assistant referee review. The West Africans were the only side to win all three group games in Cameroon, but were largely subdued against a Tunisia side hit by COVID-19. Nigeria forward Umar Sadiq fired across the goal and wide in injury time after Moses Simon had earlier had an effort blocked by Bashir Ben Said. Tunisia, Nations Cup winners in 2004, will face Burkina Faso in the last 8 on Saturday, 29th January. Three-time African champions Nigeria were fancied to go deep in the competition after impressing under interim coach Augustine against Egypt, Sudan, and Guinea-Bissau. Tunisia, meanwhile, had lost twice in the group stage, including to debutants the Gambia, and were without coach Mondor and a host of players after positive test for coronavirus. Influential captain Wabi Kasri was only fit enough to take his place among the substitutes, but the North Africans had the best chance in the first half in Goura, as defender Muntasa Talbi had an effort clear of the line. Nigeria offered little in reply as Wilfred Ndidi sent a bicycle kick wide and Joe Oribo had a shot blocked behind. Yusuf cut out Maduka, who has signed for Watford but is on loan at Sparta Rotherham, with a low effort from almost 30 yards to break the deadlock soon after the restart. The shot went past two Nigerian defenders before swerving and bouncing in front of Maduka, who got his outstretched left hand to the ball but could not keep the strike out. Iwobi was sent on as a 59 substitute but was dismissed just 7 minutes later after catching Yusuf on the top of the ankle with his stone. Even though the Everton midfielder had appeared incredulous when initially shown yellow, Tunisia midfielder Siliti had a cowling effort saved while Nigeria struggled to create chances as the Carthage Eagles sat back and soaked up pressure to complete victory. Augustine is said to be replaced by Jose Patricio as Super Eagles coach, and the Portuguese first task will be to navigate a two-legged World Cup 2022 playoff against fussy West African rivals Ghana. Performance Korea and 24 News.
And away from the latest happenings of sports, let's now look at the latest of the international front. The U.S. has ordered the relatives of its embassy staff in Ukraine to leave amid rising tension in the region. The State Department has also given permission for non-essential staff to leave and urged U.S. citizens in Ukraine to consider departing. In a statement, it said there were reports that Russia is planning significant military action against Ukraine. Russia has denied claims that it is planning to invade Ukraine. The State Department also warned people not to travel to Russia due to ongoing tension and potential for harassment against U.S. citizens. The military has been battling to curb a long-running insurgency. Shots have been heard near the presidential palace in Burkina Faso's capital amid a mutiny by soldiers. More in this report.
The military has been battling to cope a long-running insurgency. Shots have been heard near the presidential palace in Burkina Faso's capital amid a mutiny by soldiers. Gunfire has also been heard at several barracks in Ouagadougou, with soldiers demanding the sacking of military chiefs and more resources to fight militant Islamists. Hundreds of people came out in support of the troops, forcing authorities to introduce a nighttime curfew. The government said the crisis has been contained. It dismissed rumors of a new coup attempt just over a week after 11 soldiers were detained for allegedly plotting a coup. It is the latest sign of growing discontent with President Roch Kabore's government over its failure to quell the Islamist insurgency that has devastated the West African state since 2015. Protesters in support of the soldiers set fire to the ruling party's headquarters. Gunshots were heard at military camps in the west and south of the capital and at air base near the main airport. Soldiers convicted of a coup attempt in 2015 are imprisoned at a camp in the west known as Zaguel Lamzana. Shooting was also heard at military bases in the northern towns of Kaya and Wahigaya, the U.S. Embassy said. The mutineers made several demands, including the dismissal of Army Chief of Staff and the head of the intelligence service, the deployment of more troops to the front line to fight the insurgents, better care for wounded soldiers, and the families of those killed in the battle. Gen Sambora urged people to continue with their normal activities, saying the government will release further information in due course. The location of President Kabore is unclear, but the defense minister denied rumors circulating on social media that he was under arrest. On Saturday, dozens of people were arrested in Ohigaya.
Viewers, I'm afraid that's all time we have in today's bulletin. Stay tuned to your favorite N24 TV.